This video is sponsored by Rockwool. More about them later. Holy bananas, we're getting a garage update. DIY friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danie, and today is another episode of The Garage Build, a series where I take you along my journey to build my dream garage space that includes a workshop and a creative studio above. We are doing all the work ourselves to save on costs, so I'm taking you along for the ride, sharing all my experiences, everything I learned, and maybe even share some of the mistakes. Who knows, but it's all going to be shared right here, right now. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been a hot minute, like a real 8-month gap hot minute since our last update. But it's finally time to just do a massive update and walk you through what the heck has been going on in the last 8 months. Let's not waste any more time. Roll up those garage doors, will ya? Editor, roll that tape. Boop. So in January of this year, I posted my studio planning video where I outlined that we were going to be putting much of our focus on the studio space upstairs first so that I could officially move this space, the one you're looking at right now, out of my house and into the garage before the end of 2024. The workshop downstairs was like moderately functional for now. As we know, I mean, I've been building out of it all year, so that wasn't as big of a deal. I mean, I do want to get rid of the insulation, but yeah, we have a lot of catching up to do. So let's roll it back to March of 2023. All right, so our first step was to get insulation into the ceiling. But before that insulation could go in, there was some preparation that needed to happen first. So that pink looking takeout container is a polystyrene attic rafter vent. So usually when you're insulating your attic, you don't want to restrict the airflow of fresh air coming from your soffit to the inside of your roof. So those pink vents have these like little raised ridges on them. And this allows air to pass through. Now, normally these are installed and then spray foam would sit on top of it, but we aren't using spray foam, we're using stone wool insulation. But we're still adding them in so that we don't press the insulation too high into the truss space. And then this is just kind of ensuring that we have that air gap. Think of it this way. As we know, all that hot air rises and we need a way for it to release out. Basically, this is just going to help ensure that we can do that. Now, not everyone would do this if you're planning to install insulation bats versus spray foam, but we did. It was a personal choice. I also married an engineer, so it's going to get over-engineered. Nerd alert. Nerd alert. So using a staple gun, I was securing them in between our trusses, and you can see the gap there, and that's what's gonna let that air out. Oh, and that little bit of insulation that you can see poking up from the bottom, that is our 1-inch Rockwool Comfort Board 80 insulation that we placed on the exterior walls, if you remember, yay long ago, before that steel went on top. So you can kind of understand where that open space is to the soffits. I have learned so much in this process. Like I have gone to the hardware store a million times and passed by those takeout looking containers and thought to myself, I wonder what that's for. Well, now I know, and now you know, and now we both know. The more you know. After that, I got started on installing 1x3 wood strapping, which sat across the trusses and the ceiling. So this is going to help hold our future insulation that gets installed, as well as provide us with a way to install our drywall sheets down the line. Because if they ain't there, there's nothing for our drywall to screw into. So I was just spacing the strapping out every 16-inch on center, and to ensure that consistency, I was just using little spacers that I would install, then remove as I worked up the wall. This process basically continued across the entire ceiling of the studio on all 4 gable ends and across the ceiling in the middle. Also, I think it's a good show of your work if you trust it enough to hang from it. You know what I mean? What Jeffrey's done is he's gotten some of the electrical up here ready before, nothing's hooked up yet, but we have it ready. So we have 4 pot lights that are gonna be going in on the middle section. So there's 1, 2, well, these are all plugs, sorry.
Yeah, those are your ceiling.
These are all ceiling plugs. Pot lights there, and then I have 4 plugs going into the ceiling, because I was like, I think ceiling plugs are gonna be so handy, because then you can have those little pull down pieces. Or you can have studio lights hooked up to them, which was kind of my thinking, so I'm excited about that. So I got 4 of them in each corner of the main kind of workspace installed, so I think that's gonna be great. Actually, fun fact though, pot lights are notoriously bad for filming, so the plugs in the ceiling will be great because I can install studio lighting for times when I'm filming, and then use the pot lights for general house lights when I'm not filming. I did think that through. Used this little noggin.
Always thinking 2 moves ahead.
Now, when Jeff and I set out to build this beast of a structure, one of our goals was to ensure that this garage was insulated super well. Rockwool was our top choice for so many reasons, which is why I am honored that they are the sponsor of today's episode. Literally one of the coolest sponsors I think we've ever had on this channel. Do you agree? And if there is ever a time where you shouldn't skip learning about something, this is the one. So stay with me, friends. Through the process of building this garage, I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is that what you put between your walls is far more important than the cosmetic finishes that you put in front of them. So say you're renovating or maybe you're building a new home, if you need to find places where you're looking to save a buck, what you put in your walls should not be one of them. And I know it's not sexy, but the effects of a well-insulated home could be.
Is it hot in here? Like, it's hot.
If you are a homeowner, having this knowledge and choosing the right products can make a huge impact on how energy efficient your home works for you. From the beginning, there was no question that we would be using stone wool insulation. Hands down. It helps improve energy efficiency and it's sustainable. The thermal comfort of stone wool insulation keeps your cooling and heating costs low and helps maintain a stable indoor temperature. It's resistant to mold, mildew, growth, and rot. It has excellent sound absorbency, which is great because we have a metal roof, so if it rains, it could get loud without it. It has low moisture absorption and is water and moisture resistant. However, if any moisture does come in contact with it, its vapor permeable material will be able to dry out fast and maintain its original insulated R value. Now, if you are asking what the heck does R value mean, don't feel bad, I didn't know either. R value means thermal resistance. So R value measures how well a material insulates. So the higher the R value, the better the insulation performance. So basically, it tells you how effectively a material resists heat flow, which affects energy efficiency and comfort in your home. So in layman's term, the higher the R value, the better it's going to help keep the heat in or out depending on the season. Now, I'm sure you saw in that footage, but we were installing 2 layers of insulation into the ceiling. So why we did that, we were making sure that the joints in the insulation were tight and did not line up with each other between layers. I mean, we were snug as a bug in an insulated rug. Which on that note, bugs hate this stuff too, so that's nice. Now beyond that, I wanted to share that Rockwool products are super sustainable. It's literally made of volcanic rock and recycled materials. And because it's made primarily of rock, it also achieves fire resistance without any need for added chemical flame retardants. So it provides excellent passive fire protection, which limits the ability of fire to spread. Thus, it protects escape routes and could give you that critical extra time to escape when the seconds count. I mean, to be fair, I've actually almost set this studio on fire by accident.
But it can be prevented.
So it was kind of important to both Jeff and I, because I am primarily alone 100% of the time. And if you are finding it hard to believe that it won't set on fire, because I was, I tested it. Nothing! Absolutely nothing! God damn, I love playing with fire.
Should we be worried?
If you use their stone wool insulation products, it can help your home be more efficient everywhere while helping to reduce energy consumption and cost, which is pretty awesome. And just a reminder, when working with any insulation, always be safe, friends. When handling this product, wear long sleeves, wear gloves, protective eyewear, wear masks when you're cutting. I genuinely can't say enough good things about Rockwool, especially after working with it so much through this garage experience. But if you want to learn more about Rockwool and all their amazing stone wool products, I have linked it in the description box. So the installation was in. Also, I should note that the timeline of some of this footage may be a little out of order. I'm trying to tell this story in a linear way via the steps that we took to get where we are, but we kind of worked in sections, so that's why you might see some spots not finished in some shots, then finished in others. Hopefully this all just ends up making sense. So after the insulation went in, what we did was add a vapor barrier on top. This is a thick sheet that prevents water vapor from reaching our drywall. This had to cover every bit of the wall and ceiling. We were wrapping ourselves in a nice present, basically. Now, once the vapor barrier was in place, this allowed us to finally install the doorway and the walls that closed off the stairwell. And both elements were built on the ground first, and then we installed it. Is it square?
Square enough for the girl to hang it with.
Stop. Good day, good day. So let's talk about the next steps. Both sides over here have been vapor barriered and insulated. We have to wait to do the bottoms because it needs to get inspected, or the electrical needs to get inspected before we can add any insulation. However, today Jeff and I are going to build the partition wall that's going to, well, partition off the office area and whatever this ends up being over here from the main creative space. I have this vision to, as I've stated in the past, to create those like industrial style windows at the top and then do kind of like a little half wall. So we're gonna build those half walls today, which means that we need to build like a little bulkhead up here. There's going to be 2 pillars that come down here and here, and then we build the half walls that are 3 feet high. And then that way we can get the electrical put into those half walls, because I do want plugs on that. And then that's it. Once we have this in, we can finally come and get the electrical in to get it inspected. And then once they inspect that, then we can finish insulating, we can finish putting the vapor barrier up, and then we can get the drywall guy in, because I ain't drywalling. So to build the partition wall, we were using regular 2x4 builder grade lumber. Now we built both half walls on the floor, which just consisted of a rectangular frame with 16-inch studs on center that went across it inside. We secured those into the floor and the side. Then we added a top plate across the top, installed our vertical support posts. Then we screwed together 2 boards to create the header that would sit on top of those 2 vertical posts, because eventually I wanted to install a rolling door system and we would need something to attach that to, and the header was providing that. Now, this is obviously not a load-bearing wall, so it only needed to be strong enough to support, I don't know, the doors, or maybe a human. What? Maybe. And then timeline wise, after that, that's when the electrical was approved. And this is when we ended up adding the strapping to the center area, like the main area, and then added the insulation into the ceiling. And then at that point, we only had 1 more weekend to put in before drywallers started. So time was ticking and I was nervous. After all of this, our slow go process suddenly was just like, we need to finish now. Stop everything, we're getting it done. So it was a little bit frantic. The last weekend was a strong push, I will say. And because of this push, my dad blessed us with his presence to help. Thank you, Father. And we essentially just all worked together to get the final Rockwool 24 comfort bat into the walls. And because we were working around the electrical, we were cutting a slit in the insulation just to allow that electrical to sit into the insulation, if you know what I mean. And I gotta say, I'm always so impressed by how well that insulation cuts. It's just like, it's easy, it's rigid, so it just really fits in there nice and easy. And it was just a dream. It was a dream. And then while me and my dad were finishing that up, Jeff was using the DAP Max Fill foam to spray in between any sections where there were kind of small gaps in the window framing that was too challenging to insulate with Rockwool. There was also the header above the windows where there was like a really shallow section of space that could be insulated with Rockwool, but we decided to use a high density polyiso foam board, which has the added benefit of being able to screw into it. So this board actually helped maximize our R value in this area, which now we know what that means. But the drawbacks to this board is that unlike Rockwool, it's highly flammable, so it must be covered with drywall. That's all you need to know. It's a small area though, so the risk is low. And then in this weekend, the final step was just adding Vapour Barrier tape anywhere 2 pieces of Vapour Barrier overlap to close up the seam. And around the window, we added a synthetic butyl rubber acoustic sealant. That is a mouthful. Essentially what this creates is a really tight seal, and this is some weird stuff because this product never hardens. So it can't crack, it can't peel, it can't harden over time. It's super durable, and it's great because it creates an acoustic seal which helps with noise transition from the outside in, which is great around a window. We actually use this product to seal all around the bottom wall where the Vapour Barrier met the floor. I did have footage of this, but I don't know what happened to it. I think I probably accidentally deleted it, which is really weird for me. Couldn't find it, but anyways, we did that too. At that point, the space was finally finished. We had the city come in to inspect the Vapour Barrier, and it was approved for just a studio, but we were officially ready to bring in the drywallers, and I was so happy not to do it myself. Don't tell anyone. I mean, for the first time ever, I was like, no ma'am, I'm good. I have proven I can drywall, I have proven I can mud, but that doesn't mean I want to do an entire room of it. No ma'am, I don't need to prove that. So these lovely gentlemen came in, and boy, they were efficient and quick. The entire process took like 1 week installing and mudding. And if I had done it, I feel like it would have just taken so much longer than that. Best money we've ever spent, hands down. And that's where we leave off. Are you guys ready to finally, officially see a finished studio space that's ready for painting, that's ready for flooring, that's ready for creativity? Let's go see it. Welcome to the studio! Good job! I just genuinely can't get over how bright it feels up here. And the ceilings aren't that high. I mean, it's only 8 feet, but I thought it would feel really small, especially when we started to put in the insulation. But like, now that I'm up here, this space feels huge, and I love how bright it is up here. Already this space feels so creatively inspiring to me. Since this has been done, it's kind of crazy because I've been brainstorming and just thinking about all the things that I'm gonna be doing up here, and I feel like that's really fueled and sparked this new creative urge in me. I don't know how else to explain it, but I've started painting more, and I can envision where all of these things are going to happen. So I'm just thrilled. Now, a few things do need to happen in here. Like, we need to install the door. I need to get some framing around 2 of the windows. One of them's already done, which then a little bit of insulation is gonna have to go into the window frames just to make sure that that cool air doesn't come through. But gotta keep our R value, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I love that this feels like a blank slate. This just feels like the start of something really... I don't know why I'm crying. It just really feels like it's gonna be the start of something really great. And I can't wait to use this space to bring great ideas to this world. So anyways, all that to say, I think some really great things are gonna come. I mean, look at these windows. Can't you guys just imagine a really cool industrial window right here? Oh, and maybe it might be colorful. I mean, we just learned how to stain glass, so I feel like the opportunities are endless. And you wanna know something crazy? There's still some drywall up here because this drywall is gonna go into the hallway there. But this space in general here, I thought was gonna feel so small. But now that the drywall is in, in, it's kind of crazy because this space feels huge. Like, I know, like I was talking about, you know, putting in kind of like a water station, like with a pump, a foot pump, and like maybe a little coffee station, but like, I don't know, I feel like now that the space is finished and I can finally see it, I'm thinking about a whole bunch of creative ideas that can be done. So, my friends, make sure you are subscribed. If you're not already, make sure you join, because now that this space is here, we are going full studio mode. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to share this journey with you. I hope you guys are excited. Buckle in, because the studio series has just started. And of course, a big thank you again to Rockwool for sponsoring this video and supporting this project. The stone wool insulation that I used for this insulation application is linked in my description box if you want to check it out and learn more. Well, of course, my friends, as always, stay positive, stay creative, love your magic, and keep on DIYing! Bye-bye.